if you were a mom, you would actually understand. You can't control how your kid acts. I mean, you could, but like, it's a kid. It's not. Its mind not have like developed it. So like, if it screams, it screams. It's not like you can't control it. It's just a kid.
Just because your mind isn't fully developed doesn't mean you can't understand right from wrong. My mind ain't fully developed because I'm not 25 or in my 30s, but I still know right from wrong.
Are you slow?
Are you?
Their mind is not really like, bro. Make me feel dumb, bro.
All right, bye, Trashy. Bye.
Oh my god, bro.
This the same argument, the same people. Well, not the same people. You're literally saying they don't understand because their mind's not fully developed. That's what you said. Then you want to get upset because my mind ain't fully developed either, but I know right from wrong.
And I see a fish when I deliver. You gotta be real quiet on the creek.
Really, Amara?
Well, to be honest, like which side are you on?
Just finish eating before you speak.
Yeah, I'm going. Right, hold on, I'm gonna finish. So, like, to be honest, like, I honestly, I'm gonna be on the agree side here because, like,
Oh, wait, I should put that.
mind isn't fully developed. They still know the difference between right and wrong. So, they should know, like, they wrong or something.
Exactly. I'm confused. Exactly. So I guess they can't understand right from wrong, but at the same time they can understand, but not to the fullest extent.
I completely agree with you. I don't know what these people you're talking about. Like, they talking trash over here.
Well, that's what the boys do. That's what they do. They should stay inside until they learn.
That's a good.
Okay, I'm going to add some roles up so I can get a better understanding on who's coming up. Oh, alrighty. Let's see. Are you not going to pick a role? I mean, okay, there we go. Hello.
Hi.
Can you tell me why you disagree?
I think that in some circumstances that kids shouldn't be around. Okay. Let me rephrase that. Sorry. In some cases, children shouldn't be in public, but in many cases, children should be allowed in public. As long as that's the way we have, as long as they're not like stealing, breaking, trespassing, or anything like that, that's fine. But like, there's also sometimes that kids are forced to come out because maybe their parents can't get a babysitter or anything. That's the other thing. So sometimes kids belong in public. Sometimes kids have to come in public because they don't have babysitters or they can't go with the childcare. And I know they're going to childcare. But yeah.
So all I'm hearing is a bunch of excuses that don't even make any sense. So if a child is exhibiting these behaviors, right, and you're rewarding them essentially because nothing's being done that has been appropriate to make these changes in behaviors, why would you continue to let them out in public?
Well, the thing is, you also have to look at the parents. You have to see if the parents are actually doing something. Maybe the parents may be afraid to do something because their child is showing these.
No, I don't look at what the parents are doing. I look what is going to be effective. So obviously, whatever the case may be, it's not effective. But I don't really care about those things. I care about what's going to be effective. So tell me, what would you do?
Well, if my child was hitting, screaming, stealing, all that stuff, one, I'd be whipping their ass. I'd be calling the police if they were doing stuff like that. And probably, I'd be putting strict rules in place with them. and probably wouldn't be letting my child go out in public if they were doing that sort of stuff.
So you would or you wouldn't?
Uh,
Okay. She literally agreed with me. And it wants to leave. Okay. Hello. Why you didn't pick a role?
Oh, how do I do that?
So just leave and rejoin.
Okay.
So I can understand what you're talking about. Okay. Okay. Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing not well. So before you say anything, I'm just gonna get some things in mind so you know where I'm coming from, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think most kids, not every single child, most kids don't belong because most kids that I've come across have done all those things in the description on a daily basis. So I view the situation as whatever the parents that they've used, like the discipline tactics, are not working. So it's time for you to let them not come out in public because it is not the public's choice or decision to handle your child. That's your decision. So it's not fair for other people to have to put up with that kind of behavior besides you. So, yeah.
Okay, and I totally get where you're coming from, but the thing is, I want to also clarify how old of a kid, what is the oldest kid that applies to this?
A 17-year-old.
17. All right. I agree that it's very hard to control children in public. Saying from a person with a little brother that does a lot of these. And I do agree that it's the parents' responsibility, but the thing is, kids are very, very comfortable with their parents, and that is, and mostly because like you see them every day, they will even if the parents hit you, threaten you, if most of the kids, the reason they're acting like this is because like they aren't scared of their parents. So I would actually encourage them to go on. I would encourage them to go out to the public. Why? Because what if a stranger scolds you, a stranger screams at you? Yes, then you'll get scared. That's my view at least.
Okay, but how do you think the public is going to help their behaviors change? Because that's what's really important.
The thing is, the public is quite, I mean, if they don't know the kid, of course they're gonna be selfish. But if the kid is screaming, crying, maybe at a hair salon, decide to kick them out, they'll how to say, they'll scold them maybe harshly if they really are misbehaving that much. And that's the thing, they don't care about your kids' feelings. Parents do. Parents care about your kids' well-being, but the public doesn't care about your kid. They'll discipline them by any means necessary.
Okay, so again, it is not the public's job to teach your kid right and wrong. Okay, that's the parent's job. So it's not fair for a hairstylist in this instance to kick the child out because that should be your job to be establishing discipline, not somebody else's job who isn't the parent. So this might help the child, but not in the way that you may think.
But the title says kids don't belong in public, and I know what you mean by kids. But yet, even if it isn't the hairstylist's fault, you can't expect for kids to just stay at home if they misbehave. What about going to the doctors? Like I said, what if you want to go to the hairstylist? What if you go to school? Those are public areas. Still, they still need to go public. You can't confine them into one space because they can't behave.
You absolutely can, because those things, some of those things are a privilege, okay? Like going to the hair salon. So allowing your kid to continue being in public settings, doing things like this, is only going to affect other people. I don't know why you're not getting that. So I'm only mattering about not only the child is other people as well. So you don't need to go to school, you're going to be homeschooled, and you don't need to get a haircut either. For the doctors, I don't think the doctor is going to allow your child to be hitting, screaming, stealing, breaking, being disrespectful, and trespassing. So they need to control this behavior before they enter out to the doctor's school or the hairdressers. So that's what I'm talking about. They need to get this under control, and it shouldn't be a 24-hour type of thing.
I sort of agree with you. Yes, it is 100% the parents' responsibility if their child is, let's say, screaming, kicking, trespassing. Yes, but in the end, kids are still kids. You still gotta discipline them one way or another. And it is actually shown that if the parents don't discipline them properly, the public will, the public police will. They'll show them what real consequences look like. Consequences that parents aren't ready to show their kids. So I feel like instead of trying to be more, how to say, a closed family where you don't want help from other people, I feel like we should all be a community and try to help each other out. Not just something. I don't feel like raising kids is some closed job where only you and your family get to discipline them, while people outside that actually experience most of these stealing, trespassing, and they can't discipline them.
Yeah, but again, you say that it's not the public's job to, but you still apply this to the public. The public don't get paid to do this unless it's their literal job. So it shouldn't have to be to an all community raising your child, because nobody consented to doing that. Nobody said, oh, we're all going to come together so we can have this baby. No, you and another person did. So it shouldn't be the public at the end of the day. It should be you, well, not you, the mother and the father and the family to be raising the child, not nobody else. And it's not fair. I don't care if that is how it should be. It's not right for that to happen.
So in a way, to an extent, I actually completely agree with you, but there are some flaws. I mean, but there are some serious flaws. What if the child is sick? The child needs to go to a doctor. And even so, if a child is really disrespectful on a daily basis, they still need to go to school and homeschool. I understand about homeschool, but what if the parents are busy? They need to go to work. All of the parents, they need to go to work. They don't have the privilege to hire a tutor
online school
to their child. That's why you see so many misbehaving kids in public schools, because they need to go out in public, because their parents just don't have that privilege for them to be homeschooled. And also,
so why are they
when they're living
disobedient?
in an apartment, the kid doesn't get sun. The kid needs to go to a public space to get their exercise. They can't do it at home. You can't unless you're rich and have this big yard for them to play in. It's not gonna happen. They still need to be in public.
So again, this shouldn't be a 24 hours thing. This is not a 6 months period where you just keep your kid inside your house. This is only until they behave. Okay? So you said that the misbehaving kids still are out in public. So I don't understand what's the point of you claiming that the public helps the kids be taught properly, but at the same time, they're still disobedient kids. So the only reason why they're disobedient still outside public is because they don't care about anyone, because they don't even value what their parents are saying, because they've never been disciplined appropriately. And in reality, nobody really does care about the child unless you're a police, or if that's your job to deal with kids and you get paid for it. Nobody cares if the kid is bullying or being stealing or disrespectful unless that's your job. So the only ones that should care is the parents. Now, homeschooling isn't just parents teaching them. There can be online school, okay? And the doctor, if it's not like people need to go see the doctor every month unless it's like catastrophic. So unless it's like the dentist or something. But even if you are going to those places, they're not going to allow those behaviors. So people who have kids like this, need to teach them the appropriate way how to act, and they should not just let them and give up on their child and just let the public raise them, because they might miss out on vitamin D and socializing, because vitamin D is not important enough to the point where you need to neglect that your child is doing all those things. And talking to people is not nearly as important because no one wants to talk to a disobedient child or deal with that, let alone. Unless you're a police.
I actually agree with you, actually. Yeah, that's true. But I would also like to point out a few flaws in your argument. Yeah, I agree with you. Those are some amazing points. But online schooling is also seen as already ineffective due to the past lockdown. And to be honest, online schooling can be easily, how to say, avoided because they can just open another tab and play games and all of that. You can't really be strict behind the screen. So that's a flaw that online schooling has. That's why I would, even if they are misbehaving, even if they do all these things, that's why you see them in public schools because they still need to go to school. Homeschooling doesn't work for some people, and online schooling doesn't.
Okay. It doesn't really matter if it's effective because either or, there's still kids that are still doing, opening another tab and not paying attention in school. Like, there's so many schools that there's a lot of things wrong with school in general. So it's not like one is better than the other, but it is one better than the other. Because if a kid like this continues to go to school, not only are they going to influence other kids to act like them, right? But they're not even going to care even more because they're like, the authority, my mom doesn't care. The authority really doesn't care unless they get expelled. So what happens when they get expelled from doing this? Then they're never going to go to school. They have to go online. So what I'm trying to get at is you need to keep your kid inside until they learn how to behave. This shouldn't take a whole summer. It shouldn't take 6 months. It should only take probably like a week for your kid to realize that I am a problem. That's why I'm staying inside, and I will only get rewarded to go hang out with my friends when I don't do any of these things, okay? Because like you said earlier, the only thing that's going to happen to these kids is they're going to get arrested, which is much worse than what it seems to, because they shouldn't have to be arrested to know right from wrong. Their parents should teach them right and wrong before they get arrested. So school is not this perfect place to teach kids either, because kids still act disobedient even when they go to school.
I get where you're coming from, but I feel like you're under the impression that school won't do anything too severe to these kids when they disrespect, trespass, break, yeah, all of those. But from where I come from, they actually face very severe punishment. So that's why I'm under the impression that yes, public schools they need to go to public school, and when they're in the school teach them, because that's the school's job. That's literally the school's job. At least from where I'm from, they're very strict. So maybe in your area they aren't that strict, and maybe they'll not care about the kid who is quote unquote hopeless. But yeah, that's what I want to point out.
So I wasn't really arguing that fact. I was just arguing that nobody really cares, okay? Because if, let's say, in your case, you get expelled if you do that. I'm just saying that it's worse to go to school and to not only affect other kids, but now you're expelled from, breaking and stealing from the school. It's not better than online school, preferably. And the only reason why they don't care, the kid doesn't care, is because their parent doesn't care. So if the parent constantly is like, whatever, I don't care, well, not saying that, but if they don't do anything and the school is only doing something, obviously the kid is like, okay, my mom don't care, so I don't care. My mom doesn't show me no discipline, so I don't really care. I see kids like this all the time. Their parent doesn't care. The schools kind of discipline them, but since their parent is not beating it, but like making it more influence in their head, they don't care. So it's just not going to look good whatsoever. Continue being confused, Axe.
Okay. Okay, I actually agree with you. Yeah, you made some convincing arguments. Yeah, if the kid doesn't if the kid does all of those like very very extreme these extreme stuff, then yeah, I agree. Yeah, they shouldn't belong in public. This will just like detriment the public. Yeah.
Yeah, because later on they're going to become an adult and get arrested multiple times. There's many people who their behaviors they see all the time. They get influenced by the behavior and their parents don't teach them or the public doesn't care enough. They get arrested a bunch of times and then later on they be dead because of what they be doing. It's not okay. So parents need to be stricter and start caring about their child's lives and stop expecting the public to teach them when in reality only the public is going to treat them much harshly than what they would do. Period.
Okay, yeah, okay. I feel like you should let this guy he's been waiting for
Yeah.
He just asked a question. Yeah, good talking to you.
Hi.
I hope you have a lovely day. Wasn't that a good person right there? Okay, hello.
Hi there. I just wanted to know like your argument because I only got like the tail end of what you were saying and I was like a little bit confused.
So we were just both comparing instances. Well, I'm coming from in the description that most kids don't belong in public. If they're, the extreme cases of like the hitting, the screaming, the stealing, the breaking, the trespassing, and the being disrespectful on a daily basis. So if they're doing this on a daily, and then you let them out in public, all they're going to do is influence people, and people are going to be much harsher than you would, because they're not the parent. They don't care about your kid. They don't feel obligated to teach your kid most of the time. So of course they're not going to sit down and discipline the kid. They're going to do it in most worst way possible. So it's your job to educate your kid in your house until they're able to be out in public again.
Yes, but I have just like a little question. Do you mean that they shouldn't start out being in public, or only once they've done bad things shouldn't be out in public?
Not just any bad things like in the description. If they're doing those things in particular, absolutely not. But if they're doing those things like once every blue moon, just teach them, because it's not severe. But this is a severe case of what most kids got. So, yeah.
So you mean the topic should be kids don't belong in public if they're not like if they're doing these things consistently?
Well, I can't put all that up there.
Well, yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so that's why I added the description.
Okay. I agree with that, not just like the original topic. So when I joined, I was like, what is this? I was a little confused.
Well, she was just arguing that the public should help raise the child just as much as the parent. But I was arguing that's not even their duty. That's your duty because they didn't bring the child in the world. You did.
Yeah. I agree with that part. That part, yes, the beginning part of what I thought you were saying, because I hadn't, listened to the whole thing, that was what I was, actually disagreeing with. This would be the one to, discipline their kid, not some random guy on the street or some police officer.
Exactly. I mean, they can discipline them, but they're not going to do it in the way that you would probably want for your child.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming up. And you have a lovely day.
You too.
Dang. It needs to be more like that. Wouldn't it be better if the debate was more like that? Like just back and forth, you don't speak, but people don't have talent. They don't have respect, so. Hello.
Hello?
Are you ready to be mean again?
I wasn't mean, bro. I was just stating facts, man.
Sure you were.
I'm just saying, kids can't control. I mean, they can control it, but they're kids. They're supposed to do that.
They're not supposed to do none of that.
If
Absolutely
you
not.
were a mother, you would understand. Kids, you can't control a kid.
No, I can't. The mother, that's the mother's job and the father. This
If
is
you
only
become a
applied to
mother,
me.
you would know.
I don't need to become a mom to know right and wrong.
Yeah, but bro, if you became a mother, you would know how hard it is. But you're not a mother, so you wouldn't know how hard it is to take care of
I'm
a
not
child.
denying that it might be hard, but just because it's hard doesn't mean you shouldn't put as much effort to try to teach your kids some manners.
I mean, if you did have a kid, you would probably know how hard it would be to be a mother.
Are you just going to repeat the same thing over and over again?
Can't just teach a kid not to scream and all that. You can't just teach them right off the bat.
You can't
Once they
teach your
grow
kid
up.
manners. Why can't you?
I mean, can't like once they're young, yeah, they start screaming, but once they get older, they start to mature. They'll know right from wrong.
They can't know right from wrong if nobody was teaching that when they were a child.
That's what school's for.
What?
School's meant to teach kids right from wrong. I mean, you can still teach them when they're kids, but like going to school is teaching them even more right from wrong, knowledge, and all that.
School doesn't have a behavior type of class. You come to school and you're expected to have certain manners. That's why there's certain rules in school. If
Yeah, but
there
once
weren't
they-
certain rules,
once they
if
get
there
in
weren't
trouble-
certain rules in school and they were teaching those rules, then it wouldn't be expected in school.
Okay. Once you enter a classroom, the teacher tells you the rules not to put gum on the table, not to scream, not to talk over people. They teach that.
No, they
When-
don't.
once you-
That's
once
what
you
is
get in
expected
trouble-
because that's already supposed to. You're already supposed to know that before coming into school.
Yeah, but no, like in younger classes, they tell them that.
But they're already expected to know that before coming.
Bro, when you were a kid, you were screaming too.
No, I was not.
Yes, she was.
How are you gonna tell me?
Like everybody when they were a kid, they were screaming, all that.
Okay,
Like,
just
they did
because
bad stuff.
no, just because kids scream doesn't make it okay. Okay?
Bro, they're little.
They
don't
can
know
still
right from wrong.
understand, they can still have some type of understanding that right and wrong.
Yeah, but once they're
Okay, yeah.
outside, they can do that. Their parents say use your inside voice. What they mean by inside voice, be quiet, like, don't scream.
So if the parent is teaching them that, why do you feel like it's still acceptable for them to scream?
Like, what do you think they're screaming at, inside or outside? Like,
Can you answer my question?
what was it, bro?
I said, if the parent is teaching them to use their inside voices, why do you still think it's okay for them to scream?
Like, is it out? Like, I'm asking you this question too. Do you think, where do you think they're screaming at, inside or outside?
Anywhere.
Anywhere, like the house or
Anywhere.
anywhere. So, like, it could be outside, it could be playground, it could be anywhere. What do you
Okay,
think?
so
is
can you
going
answer my
on?
question?
You're saying anywhere. Where do you think
No,
this is
I
going
didn't.
on?
That wasn't my question. If the mother or father is teaching the kid to use his inside voice, why do you still think it's okay to scream, for them to scream?
It's not okay, but it's I mean, they're not
Okay, so
screaming
that's the
inside.
point. So it's not okay, and it needs to be changed. And that's why they're telling
once
it
they're
that.
outside at the playground, because most kids go out playground, they usually scream.
We're not
at
talking about when they're
playground, having a
playing.
lot of fun.
We're not talking about when they're playing. We're talking
That's what
about
kids do when they're playing. They usually scream, and once they get
No.
hurt, they scream even louder.
the way they scream. When they're mad, they
That's what
scream.
Kids usually do that. That's what kids do.
Just because they usually doesn't make it okay.
Yeah, but
That's why people
their
tell them
moms-
to be
their moms
quiet.
Spank them. Their moms spank them. And their mom
Okay,
tells
but
them
it's
to
not
do
okay
that.
though. I don't know why you're not getting that, bro.
You're not getting what I'm trying to say. Bro, kids usually scream when they're like having fun and they get hurt. And most kids scream when they're not having their way either. That's when they cry. Their
Okay,
mom's saying so.
but those instances are not the instance that I'm talking about.
That's what they do. That's usually when they scream. When they're having fun.
Can you
When they
stop
get
repeating the
hurt.
same
All
thing
that
over
stuff.
and over again?
I'm just saying that's when they scream.
I
They don't
know, I
scream all
heard
the time,
you.
like every day.
No, in this instance, kids that scream is just on a daily basis. They might find it funny or they might get angry, but it's not okay to scream when you're angry or when you think it's funny.
Kids do that because they're kids. They think everything's funny. That's why they laugh when they do it.
Okay, just because they think it's funny doesn't make it okay to do.
They're kids. That's what they do.
But kids can understand right and wrong.
Their parents teach them, but they're outside. They're outside doing that to you. That's their friends. They usually think that's funny to other people, like to their friends. They don't just.
Okay, I don't really care why they're doing it. It needs to be stopped because it's not okay.
They do it to their friends. They don't go up to random people and scream like that.
It don't matter if they're not doing it to somebody, that somebody's still hearing it. Listen, do you know how many kids scream in a library?
A lot because they're kids. Kids usually.
Do you think it's okay to scream in a library?
No, it's not.
Okay, that's all I'm asking you. Stop saying the same thing. Oh, they're kids. They're kids. I already heard what you're saying, but it's not okay. And you just said it's not. Hello.
Hi. So, I'm a mom here. I'm an actual mom. I had my first baby at 14. I want to say I disagree due to the fact, like, screaming, stealing, breaking, and trespassing, and being disrespectful. It isn't technically the child's fault. It is the parent. I think kids deserve to be going outside. It doesn't matter.
Even if they're misbehaving?
But again, back to what I was saying, it's how their parent raises them. If they just behave outside, the parent can take belt to you know what. Because I've spanked my child. Because one time we were at a park and my daughter yelled at a little boy and called him some not nice things, and I popped her. And she learned not to do that again. It isn't the child's fault. It is how they are raised by a parent, by a grown adult.
I don't care whose fault it is. It needs to be stopped.
Again, and you're like you just said to him, you're saying the same thing over again. It is the parent. It's not the child's fault. When I give you sense, you break it down into little points that you do not understand.
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to make it as clear as possible to you. It is not the child's fault.
I see why you had a child at 14 because you're just so you're just like, what's wrong with you? You don't understand stuff?
You don't understand stuff when I'm trying to explain it to you. You keep interrupting.
I don't care what you're trying to explain.
Disrespectful.
I don't care. You can leave, Juliet. And I hope your daughter hits her head. If you become a mother, you will know. No, I don't need to know. I don't need to become a mother to know right from wrong.
What do you mean? Girl, if you was a mother, then you would know to take care of your kid or not. Girl.
Yeah, but I'm not a mom, so I wouldn't have no obligation to take care of nobody's kid.
Okay, so let's say that you have a baby at 18 or 16, and then what happened to become mother?
I'm not 16 or 17 anymore, so I wouldn't have a child.
Oh, then how old are you?
It don't matter.
Yeah, but you could still have a baby at that time.
Yeah, but I didn't because I'm not, crazy. Ding, ding, ding.
Wait, so why do you think kids don't belong in public?
If Most kids don't belong in public if they do those behaviors in the description on a daily basis, because it's not the public's job. Because it's not the public's job to deal or to discipline your child. That's the mother or father's job to do. And yeah.
What about the kids that don't do that?
We're not talking about the kids that don't do that, though.
But it doesn't say kids that do that in the topic.
No, but that's why we have the description.
Yeah, but when people come in, they read the topic, not the description.
Well, when they come in, they will read the description.
But they join because of the topic. People
Yeah.
like that because of people like you.
What do I have to do with disobedient kids?
Because people like you just disrespectful. They pick up off the adults like you.
I don't be around kids like that for them to pick up anything from me.
You need to get smacked by your mama.
Okay. This, I don't understand that. Okay. Hello. All right. And then you want to raise your hand again. Hello. You want to unmute?
Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
Do you know how to read?
I do know how to read, and kids don't belong in public. They bad as fuck, and they assholes.
Well, I'm glad you said that because you're 100% correct. And even though she got muted. Where else do you think they would go? I'm confused. Do you think they would go to Neverland?
They need to stay inside. Parents need to train their kids.
Exactly. You're right.
People that need to be people that are trained, they can come outside. But parents that don't know how to train their kids and think, oh, he just doing this because so. They need to stay inside. They need to keep their kids inside. They need to stay inside with their kids. So that shows that they don't know how to act, just like their kids don't know how to act.
Exactly. Why wouldn't we have young ladies like you coming around? Are you a mom?
Nope.
Exactly. You don't need to be a mom to understand what needs to be understood.
Exactly.
So yeah, period. You can become a moderator.
Thank you.
A very educated young lady is good. I'm glad to see it. What do you have to say to that, Trashy?
Bro, the other girl really said you have to spank your child for them to listen. That's what she did to her child. That's what she just said.
She doesn't have a kid.
You're listening to people who agree with you. That's the only thing you do. Are you dumb?
Of course I would. They're speaking the facts.
Ever heard?
What'd you just call me?
Because the girl who was the mom actually came in.
The girl with the mom who literally had a baby at 14, she's literally crazy. Why on earth would you have a child at 14 years old? So her telling me that she's 14 and she had a baby, immediately she's not right in the head. That's just the immediate thought. So her telling me that it's the parents' fault that, and then at the same time she says that her daughter was saying slurs to another little boy at the park. So I would blame her. Because she said that was the parent's fault. And her daughter did that. That's not okay. Next. Hello.
Wait. Oh, I just read your description. I mean,
thank you for reading it.
Yeah. I kind of agree with some, because I thought at first that it was just like no kids allowed in public. But yeah, I agree with like some, because it could be like a disturbance for other people in the public place.
Exactly. Because not only one person can be affected by a child, a lot of people can.
Yeah, but I mean, if the parent could tell the kid, to stop, but if they keep doing it, yeah, that's like an obviously, kind of a disturbance.
Well, I appreciate you coming up. I'm just looking for disagreeers right now, okay?
All right.
Nobody's forcing kids to stay inside. We're keeping them inside until they learn how to behave. What's so wrong about that? It's just like if you were getting grounded or if you put a kid in a timeout. It's just the same thing, but those have a certain time. And this doesn't.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you realize that, like, a huge benefit to bringing kids out into the world is that they can experience what the world is like, and that trains them for adulthood?
So why is it good for a bad child to be out in public?
I'm not saying that.
Why on earth is it a good idea to keep a bad child roaming around in public?
If a child doesn't know how to behave in public, that is the parents' fault, not the child's.
No one's denying that it's the parents' fault. No one's denying that. But we're not saying whose fault it is. We're trying to get what will help the child to stop being bad.
What would help the child to stop being bad is to have better parenting.
Okay, so how would you help and discipline a child that's acting like what's in the description right now?
Teach them to just not do those things. It's kind of a black and white answer. Just teach them to
Exactly.
not do that.
So when kids get rewards, like going out to dinner and acting a fool, they don't care, and they obviously wouldn't get no understanding because they think they're being rewarded for doing these things. Just like going to see their friends, just like going to the park. So what you really... Okay, I'm saying is they need to stay inside until they learn how to behave. Because when a kid realizes, oh, I'm not allowed to go outside because I'm doing something bad, they're going to sit and think about that. They're going to sit and think.
They can't learn how to behave outside if they're not allowed to go outside. Then you're just putting them into an isolated environment, and then they won't know how to behave when they're actually outside in public. That's the problem here.
Do you think that a child can only exhibit those behaviors when they're outside? Like it's a switch? As soon as a child step outside, they immediately switch their behavior. No, it stems from inside. It stems from the parents inside of their own house. So they need to start to manage what they're getting that from, which started inside of the house, so they can go out in public. No kid just acts like that as soon as they get it out in public.
You do realize that depending on the environment you're in and the people that surround you, that you can act differently. Like, for example, you'd act differently around your friends than you will with your parents.
Okay, but the things that are in the description right now, a kid doesn't have all of a sudden doesn't hit. And then when they step out in public, they start hitting people. Like what? No, that will come from inside of the house. So I'm saying these problems don't just come from outside. It will just be inside. So deal with it inside. Don't let nobody else be bothered by your disobedient child until they learn how to behave. What point do you not get?
Question here. If you were a criminal, if you beat people up constantly, like in the street, would you go home and do the same to your family? No.
The reason why I'm acting like that is coming from inside of my house.
That's
and I would probably
the case, you know.
And we're talking about kids. It is the case. And if I was an adult, I would not be still living with my mom.
Yes, because their home is the only place that influences them in their life. But apparently, if you want to keep them
the parents do.
It will be the only place that influences them.
No, dude. The problems start inside of the home. Have you heard of that phrase?
My God. Keep going.
Okay, so that doesn't mean that the actual house is doing it. It means the parents are doing that. They weren't born in public. They were born at a hospital and were raised inside their house. So that's what I'm saying.
We're circling back to the same point here. That, like, it's not that the kids don't belong in public. It's that it's just bad parenting.
Okay, yeah, it is bad parenting. So why would it be acceptable to keep them still out in public, though? I'm confused.
It's acceptable to bring them out into public so they can learn how to behave in public.
But it's not just happens in public, it will happen inside of the house. And it's nobody else's problem to deal with your child. Why should other people get affected from your child being disobedient?
So I disagree. You should not keep your kid isolated, nor sheltered. That will stunt them mentally, and I would know.
For 6 or 2 months. I mean, for 6 months to 2 years, they'll feel like that.
That's not healthy. You can't keep your kid sheltered. If they do go outside, they're going to learn social acceptability and stuff. You cannot keep a bad kid inside the house.
But is that the appropriate way to handle a situation?
What do you mean by that? If you keep
Let me tell you.
Let me not get emotional.
Let me tell you.
Outside, you're not gonna know how to.
You asked me what I mean. Let me explain it.
All right, go ahead.
So, just because the public will, even though it will be the worst way possible, teach your kid right from wrong. But is that the right way to go about it? Should the public teach your kid, or should it be you?
I mean, the parent can teach their kid, but being outside still has its perks. So being inside is not good. They will not learn how to.
Is it the parents' fault to teach their child, or is it the public?
In life, you're not going to learn how to.
Can you answer my question?
What question?
Are you serious?
Well, when I'm talking over somebody, of course I'm not going to hear the question, so repeat it.
I literally asked you a question before you even talked.
All right, go ahead.
Is it the parents' duty to discipline their child, or the public?
It's the parents, but the public also has a big influence on how the child will act. So
we're not talking about how they will act. We're talking about discipline.
Exactly.
So again, is it the parents' duty to discipline the child, or would it be the public? Is it the parents' duty? Excuse me, answer the question. Answer the question. Is it the parents' fault?
I mean,
no.
It can be both.
Excuse me, let me finish. It's literally not that hard to just answer. Is it the parents? Is it the parents' fault?
I literally just said it can be the parents'
Bye.
So what does that have to do?
You can't even answer my question. Hello.
Okay, so I don't really understand like where you're coming from with all of this, because